My name's Dual, short from the word dualism, which to me was the idea that every day I woke up in this world that was divided right down the middle. There's two sides. There was the positive, negative. There was the black, white. There was the high, low. There was just, everything was divided up. And at the same time, myself, I was living this kind of like dual life of having a regular 9-to-5 job, serving coffee, printing shirts, whatever it was I was doing. And then at night, I would transform and turn into this alter ego and go out and put up the work on the streets. Once you get into it, it's a very addicting thing. It's a very obsessive thing, especially when it's just like individuals going out there to try to get their name out there as much as they can, as big as they can, as, you know, as bright as they can. It just ends up being this competitive sport. And then it pretty much fed this crush, kill, destroy mentality when I first started doing graffiti, where I was just obsessed with wanting to see my name on everything around. I'll probably never, ever not want to write my name on something. It's an addiction for sure. The illegal graffiti aspect of my past work kind of gave credibility. It gave it more of a meaning. It's amazing that there's that opportunity to bridge the gap from being an illegal graffiti artist to doing commercial work for big companies.
I'm gonna try to take you to a place that has a light source so we won't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have to, you know, adjust your ISO pretty low, but... So what color scheme are we doing? It all depends on how much paint I have, really. That's 4. Maybe greens. Maybe not. So I think that's the color scheme I'm looking at. Green fills, outline black, highlights. This is in the background. This for a double. I don't know what this will be, but this is bright, so if I can. Yeah, man, we got enemies. The police are our enemies. The gang task force, those are our enemies. Vandal squad, those are our enemies. They are trying to incarcerate us. They are not appreciating this art. They are saying, you're a criminal, I'm trying to get you. Graffiti is a great love story, and it's a great movie. It's a positive, uplifting movie, but for a lot of people, graffiti is a tragedy. It ruins their life, you know what I mean? They get a felony charge, they can't get a job, they go to jail. I know tons of people that have gotten in trouble for graffiti, and it's just changed their life. You do a year in jail, it's gonna change your life. You go to prison, it's gonna change your life. So graffiti has a horrible side to it, and that is the crime side. The crime side is not always glamorous. It looks glamorous on Instagram, but it's not. Not if you get in trouble. I love graffiti with a passion, but graffiti is not always the easiest thing for a lot of people. When I first got into graffiti, I definitely got addicted to it. It was definitely a drug, and it's a drug that you could be totally consumed with, because once you do some graffiti, you just want to do more. You know, once you finish one piece, you're like, okay, I know what I did wrong here and what I want to do right and what I want to change, and I want to try a different color, I want to do another one, you know? So it's an addictive behavior that comes really strong. And when I was younger, I was definitely addicted, still am today. But when I was younger, I didn't know how to balance it. And so I think being addicted to graffiti alienated me from a lot of people and a lot of relationships. Sometimes you could be very competitive, and that could change, you know, how you look at each other and how you talk to each other and how you treat each other. And slowly but surely you end your relationships because you're so fucking competitive that you want to do better graffiti than your friend that you've known since you were 7, you know? But I think to other people, graffiti could be something like, see, look, there's a car right there. See it? So that is probably a train worker or a bull, which means that he is just doing a roundabout check to make sure nobody's painting these trains like we just did.
The adrenaline rush is a whole different sport. The heart pumping, the idea of, am I gonna pull it off and get away with it? If you do get seen and you have to run, the chase, the thrill. As a young kid, I would go and explore either dead tracks, which are like freight lines that are endless miles of freights where you could, you know, you go in, you do pieces, or do rooftops. You climb up on a rooftop and do something at night, or you do street tagging, which is very quick in and out. You can't be spending more than a few minutes on a spot, and you have to look out for potential cops or whatever.
It's like a ninja in the middle of the night, man. You know, get in, get out. Go back the next day, take a flick of your piece like you're proud, you know, you're like, I painted that. Now, you wouldn't go around telling people you painted it because it was illegal.
You kind of have a split personality in a way. You have to be a Clark Kent and a Superman. You don't really want to tell people that you're doing crimes, right? If you're intelligent. So you have to keep it under wraps. You have to live your daily life and go to work or whatever you do, and then at night you put on your cape, AKA your mask, and you go paint. It's a dual personality thing, and that takes a toll on your life.
I don't know why I do graffiti, man. I don't know why that 31 years later I'm still writing my name on walls. Other than the fact that I love it. It's like a drug. I mean, once you get bit by that bug, it's like, good luck quitting. got arrested, went to jail for it. Like, I kept doing it.
You want to be seen in your city, every possible location, freeway, sign, trash can, whatever it is that you put your name on, you want it to be all over the city. To me, a city not having graffiti is basically a city with no soul.
What it boils down to for me is graffiti's about style. Your style is a reflection of who you are.
The purpose of graffiti, I think it's to explore different ways to make a letter, to see all the possibilities of what a letter can look like.
Graffiti art is solely the art of lettering, from tags to throw-ups, which are quick, bubbly ways to get your name out there, to pieces, which are where you take the lettering and kind of put a little bevels and kicks to it, nothing too major, and wild style, which is lettering but with intricate kind of interwoven bars and arrows that kind of camouflage the letters.
The idea was like to get your name up and have it stay up, you know, but we all knew that everything is temporary, especially in this art form.
So graffiti, it was a means for people to express their opinion and to get their voice heard. These are our streets and we're taking it back.
I just saw you spray paint your tag. What are you saying when you do that?
I'm saying that I'm a person and that my name should be recognized. You know what I'm saying? I'm at least so I'm recognized for something.
We are gonna leave our name and we were here. You know, it's like your stamp. I was here and I'm moving along.
We did it for us, we did it for the art form, and we did it because we loved it, period. It was fun, it still is. We didn't care that the public didn't understand it. We didn't care if the public couldn't read what we wrote. We did it for us. This is who I am, you know? Almost like fuck the system.
I mean, graffiti in general, you know, it is illegal. If it's on a legal wall, it's not graffiti. It becomes labeled as art.
Graffiti art and street art are two separate identities. What ties us together is that we are both creating our art masterpieces and putting them on the street for the world to see.
Street art is like a kiss on a cheek. Graffiti's like a punch to the mouth.
Street art is done with many mediums. It can be done with stencil, which is where you spray the stencil, and when you remove the stencil, you're left with a fine-tuned image. Chalk, paintbrush, anything goes with street art. In some instances, graffiti writers don't really care for street art, and me personally, I like art in general, so as long as it's good, I'm for it.
I mean, in theory, I'm a street artist because I paint on the streets, like murals are done in public, but I think where street art, the name kind of got co-opted and became synonymous with like stencils and stickers.
I consider myself a graffiti artist first, muralist, and street artist part-time.
This is where I test markers and shit.
I got into graffiti from skateboarding. I was a skater. It was kind of a trendy thing to do, I guess, is have a tag and tag at the local skate spots.
So when street art first came out, it was, to graffiti artists, it was very similar to rollerbladers versus skateboarding. When rollerbladers came on the scene, oh, they could skate there just fine, doing the same damage, but they're accepted. Same thing when street art first came out to graffiti writers, it's like, who the fuck are these guys? You know? They're using tools that are very easy to do, stencils, wheat paste. They don't take the time to learn the craft and learn about can control, or even learn about lettering for that matter. So the graffiti writers probably didn't like the street art so much. Through the years, they've kind of meshed, and it's more accepted. But when they first came out, it was like something to be laughed at, or something to be criticized a little bit more. The thing about the graffiti writer is the graffiti writer has a pretty big ego. And a lot of times the ego is based on your accomplishments, or what kind of notoriety you have, or what kind of prolific attitude you have. If you paint a lot, if you put your ass at risk all the time, you're going to think that you are more important. And what makes the graffiti writer a little upset about the street artist is that graffiti artist doesn't think the street artist has put in that work. Nowadays, you have a lot of these street artists just jumping right from the street, if even that, to the galleries. They just jump right to the galleries and say, I'm a street artist. Now, the gallery people really don't know. You could spend a month on the street and then jump to a gallery and say, yeah, I do all this street art. And so the graffiti writer doesn't like that either. Why would the graffiti artist risk all this freedom, spend all this time perfecting their craft, and then all of a sudden this guy over here skips all those steps and goes straight to the gallery and makes money? So there might be a little jealousy there. There might be a little animosity. There might be a little hate.
You've got artists that are just pushing the art form of using a spray can and taking it from just writing your name on a wall to creating fine pieces of art with an aerosol can. And because of that now, it's created a greater acceptance of it, to where everybody wants a wall painted now. So graffiti has become accepted so much more. It paved the way for all the street artists that you have now, and now you have all these commercials on TV by high-end companies that are using graffiti and street art to basically push their products and to have that hip factor, you know? It's created a renaissance of art where artists are able to go out now and create these insanely large-scale murals in a short amount of time, where it would take, back in the day, Michelangelo, all these masters, like years, sometimes like it's decades of their lifetime creating works. Now you have these masterpieces that are created out on buildings that are skyscrapers and hundreds of feet tall. We're here at the Lee and Joe Jamel skate park, downtown, right outside of downtown Houston. Knocked this bad boy out in 3 days. We're looking at 182 foot long by 4 foot tall. So I think it's about 22 8x4 panels. Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, how are you?
What's up?
Good, man.
Love the paint, man. I think this area already, you can see the connection between skateboarding and art all the time. Just like the big mural in the house. We just need more of it, man. But we need more art everywhere. I'd like to paint the whole damn park.
Exactly.
Take it easy.
All right, man, have a good one, Barry.
Yeah, hit me up sometime. I'm always around.
Will do. Why the anonymity? Why don't you show us your face? I get these questions a lot, every day, all the time. I said, I can see that like I started to write right here for whatever reason, then I stopped. Someone's flying a drone. Going back to the graffiti aspect, when you're doing this work that's illegal and you're doing it unknown, the mystery is like a huge part of the attraction. Not knowing who an artist is or what they look like or anything about them, to me, that doesn't even really matter, because what you're seeing is the work. When you drive around, walk around, whatever it is, you look up and you see the work. You don't see me pinned up on the wall talking to you. Like, you see what I produce. Shit blew up on me. That one's kind of messy. That's probably the most important part to me of the whole anonymity, because who cares what the artist looks like? It's all about the work.
This is a Houston landmark.
Yeah.
These street artists have great weight in Houston. And if you want to have a bad reputation in town as the people who gentrified this area, don't fuck that wall up.
Exactly.
And he's like, all right.
Well, that's good, because I was telling him it's important that to have spots like this around town, you know?
Yeah.
To give the artist the opportunity to paint.
You know, why be boring whenever you could have more than just black and white?
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly.
It gives more personality.
Yeah, it's expression. It's different, and it's like different people's styles and different skills.
Graffiti gave me a foundation to build off of into a career in art. Because the truth is, when I stepped into the public arena, right? When I went above ground, now people know the name and the face. It was a whole new world to me. And there was a lot of fear. And I think that's what keeps a lot of artists back, is fear. I'm gonna take what means the world to me and put it out for everybody to see. And along with that might come praise and probably a lot of negativity. But I'm gonna take that leap of faith and fuck my fear. And I'm gonna put it out there. And now this lovely Saturday, painting one of our walls that we have here in town. This spot is pretty much a Hall of Fame. It's a great wall for murals and graffiti productions and so forth. Sometimes there's more politics in legal walls than there is on the streets. The cops here are pretty cool. They used to stop us at first, but now they know that we're trying to do something really nice. There's not a lot of walls left here in Austin because of development. Why do I do graffiti? Because I love it. My heart's in it. The good, the bad, the ugly. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the joy, the pain, the suffering. Being an artist for a living is hard, man. It ain't for wussies. My name's Sloke. I'm based out of Austin, Texas. I paint graffiti and I do art. I started writing graffiti in 1990. I tried several names in the beginning, but Sloke is what stuck. And one of the reasons I chose that name was I really liked the letters. Growing up in Austin skateboarding, I would see the graffiti in the tunnels and the ditches, and I was attracted to it. It wasn't necessarily the tags and the bubble letters, it was more of the piecing. But in order to get to the piecing, you have to have a tag and bubble letters, and you work your way up to piecing. And especially wild style being the complex, colorful lettering. I feel like people do want to see more art on the streets, and I think that's a good thing. I really do. I mean, me personally, of course, I'd rather see a mural than a blank gray wall. I think the general appreciation of art, it's starting to come out. You see a lot of people taking photos in front of them, families, kids. I mean, come on, man, who doesn't like to do art? Kids love art. You know what I mean?
Those are TKO guys. I got multiple mezzes. I got all.
Yeah, it's got mezz and.
You're practicing your jabber?
Yeah, well, Mez did one, I did the other. Thankfully,
okay.
I'm much better than I was back then.
Yeah, well, Jabber's gonna be in this film. It's always.
Who's gonna clean up all this graffiti?
Catch this guy on film, man. This OG right here.
I'm Bob,
What's up,
Nathan's
man?
old friend.
What's up, brother?
Very little. I saw you was gonna be over here, so I wanted to come say hey.
This is a throw up by the famous Slope 1. A throw up is basically a fat version of your name, mainly used to get up quicker, you know, for illegal graffiti, because it's all round, so there's not a lot of preciseness involved. It's just like kind of getting up. But if you get really good at throwies, it's actually, in my opinion, the best. And Sloke's obviously really good at throwies. He's Sloke.
I gotta get back to the house.
And
I've got another.
I'm just super grateful that I have this in my black book now. A lot of guys in here.
Well, you can fill in all this right here.
Yes, sir.
And then that mindset of making that straight line with that portion of your body to make that line one. It's the same mindset.
There you go. Then try a fade. Just turn it a little bit and skim it.
Oh, I know. I feel like I'm getting better too. I get better every year.
Perfect.
You know, 2020, I made.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. The more we can expose the public to quality art, the more it becomes appreciated, and it keeps it going.
What's good, yo? Mears One, CBS, OTM, SHK crew. Born and raised in New York City. Been doing graffiti now 33 years and counting. No breaks, no days off. I've been drawing my whole life. From a young kid, I knew I had artistic talent.
I like to get my bones up there so I know if I'm size right. And then I go in and start doing what I got to do. I swore I wouldn't paint in this cold weather no more. Here I am. Almost ready to step back and see how horrible it looks. I can live with that. Fix it as I go.
I got to first consciously experience graffiti from a gentleman who wrote Smurfy. After noticing the Smurf face and starting to pay attention to tags and the bubble letters, which were background noise, started to register, I said, you know what, I kind of want to come up with a iconic symbol as well. And the light bulb was formed. And originally started with one face, which grew to 4 faces. And then now, 33 years later, I'm doing 16 faces in total. Art for me has always been my escape, my therapy. Ways to calm down from stress, to vent. I've learned over the years early that with art, you could tell a story that sometimes you can't tell with words.
Hey, what up, butthead? I got my lookout. Always gotta have a good lookout for you. I try to change it up every time. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I don't like being stuck on one style or one flow.
You paint a picture and people get it within a second.
Good, because of the cold weather and the clog, it's got this thing spraying like a skinny cap in some spots. Sloke, I'm jealous of your good weather down there. Just letting you know that.
Some people just do graffiti for their friends to see. And some people do graffiti for the world to see, for the person that doesn't know shit about graffiti. I love doing comical graffiti. I like painting fucking dicks. I like painting big ass dicks with happy faces on them, going by on a train. So the guy that doesn't know shit about graffiti looks at that and just laughs, just has a good day. He tells his friend at work, "Hey, Ed, you won't believe what I saw on a train today. It was a dick." It's the little things in life, you know? I go by the White Ninja, Jabber, or El Ninja Blanco. So I got into graffiti from skateboarding. I was a skater. It was kind of a trendy thing to do, I guess, is have a tag and tag at the local skate spots. It was kind of just a hobby, a little thing to do. Graffiti culture was very interested in how far can they press letters? How can they flex letters? How can they make the best letters? It was all about letters. Characters were just something on the side that accented your letters. I do a little bit of everything, but I'm mainly a graffiti writer. I have a stencil I mess with sometimes. I hang out with some people that do wheat paste stuff, so every once in a while we'll do some wheat paste stuff, but it's just, that's not my passion. I keep it letter-based. I like doing different letters. Of course, I have a moniker, but realistically, my graffiti career is based on lettering and how many letters I can do. It's kind of strange for me because I never really wanted to be an artist for a living. I just wanted to write my name. But slowly but surely, that's what happened. I just kind of got lucky, right? And I fell into that niche and I started doing artwork for money. Same thing happened when I moved to Los Angeles. I'm a graffiti writer and I don't think about art that much. And then I answered an ad to do live painting for rap groups, you know? And then I booked it. I booked that job. So then I was on tour with The Roots, and I was on tour with LL Cool J and De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest and all these amazing groups that I've looked up to my whole life. I never thought graffiti would allow me to travel with those type of people. And then again, I was making money doing art.
And so like when I started doing murals, like when you're a writer, you pick spots that are high visibility. Like the more people see it, the more fame you get. It's like it goes hand in hand, like whether it be higher up or longer lasting. And it's still a trip for me, like seeing a spot where I used to be stoked to have like a tag on like the curb right next to it. Now I have the 100-foot wall. And it's really like a cool like sense of pride. And part of the things that make graffiti artists so recognizable are the repetition. Like you do the same piece, you do the same character, you do like, Jabber's head or like Vox doing the same piece over and over again. You see it, you recognize it going 45 miles an hour on the highway, slower in LA traffic. But with me, I didn't want to keep doing the same mural over and over again. So I started doing more like area specific stuff, like what teams played by there, what movies were filmed there, what was the history of the area. Like iconography on a wall that doesn't necessarily tie into where it's at. And I wanted to make sure if I paint a piece in Venice, it's gonna be very Venice. If I do something in like the Valley, it's gonna be a movie that was filmed in the Valley. What could I do that really everyone knows in that area? And for me, especially growing up in LA, there's so many sports teams and so many like iconic sports moments and so many movies, everything's filmed here. So it's like, there was such a wealth of information that I could keep painting. So I was starting to do sports murals a little bit, and then Stuart Scott, the ESPN anchor, passed. And me and Jabber and a few other guys were gonna paint, and we're trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, dude, I'll do Stuart Scott. It just passed. It was before memorial murals had really become a thing. We had the Stuart Scott one, I did his portrait, Jabber did the booyah, like his catchphrase. And I didn't even have Twitter or anything like that. And like, dude, like my buddy made me one and my phone just like blew off. Like the battery died from all the notifications. It's so much faster to spray paint, and I'm so comfortable with spray paint. So I started transitioning to like laying out the base coat and like sketching it in with bucket paint and then going with the spray cans. And now it's pretty much everything can. If a wall's big enough, everything's can. Before the Banksy movie, before Instagram, before people were posing in front of graffiti as like a colorful backdrop for like, their photos, like there was like an outlaw element to it. And Whereas like some of like, you know, like motorcycle club culture has kept that element. Graffiti's kind of been changed in a way where it's Chris Brown can pick up a can, suddenly he's like a street artist, and it's like, you know, no knock on him or anyone who wants to paint, like go for it. But so like there was graffiti, there was street art, there was a part of our society back then, but I think the social media culture has shot it to the forefront. And although it's kind of cool that there hasn't been a reality show that I know of about it yet, everything else has been done. But so far, Charlie Hunnam, I'm sure will be a tagger in some Sons of Anarchy spinoff soon enough. Makes me happy that some of these things will exist like long after I'm gone.
For the longest time, I was convinced that to be a successful artist and to make it, you have to have this master's, right? You gotta have this document. So coming out of school with my bachelor's, constantly already making work, having shows, solo shows, moving work, I decide that I'm gonna apply for the master's program there. I go through the whole process, you know, it's basically fill out this whole form, show them your work, your artist bio, your CV of everything you've been in, and I fill it all out, turn it all in, you know, feeling pretty good and confident that I can get into the program. Opened up my email one day, and I've got this letter of rejection. Oof. I'll be honest, it felt like your girlfriend dumping you. I think for a few days, possibly even a week, I was just really bummed out about it. And I was like, what am I gonna do now? How am I gonna be this successful practicing artist if I don't have the master's? Okay, I didn't make it into your program. I'm about to just bust my ass, grind harder than what I've been doing, make sure that my name is out there everywhere and people are seeing it.
For me now, the commercial work, I've really, really pushed that I want to be able to have as much creative control in the design process as possible. I want my work, whether it's canvas work or mural work, to still have impact and inspire years and years down the line. I can only hope that there'll be artists that started doing whatever it is they do because they saw my work. Just like the same for me, I saw other artists that I saw doing stuff and I was like, I want to do that. I want to step it up. I want to take my art and make it do this. Everything I've learned, here's everything I've accumulated throughout my journey in a canvas or in this composition. You sort of say, take it, do whatever you want with it, run with it. Take this little bit, change this bit, you know? My work now, if I had to describe it, is oversaturated, hard-edged, juxtapositioned abstraction. And I just love painting. I just love doing it. Like, oh man, I really want to keep doing this, and I just want to keep pushing it. And I don't care if I'm rich off of it. That's not my point for doing it. I mean, a lot of times it's awesome to just talk to people and they're like, but you get to do what you love to do and you get paid for it. And I'm like, that to me is the most important part.
You know, when I started doing graffiti, like there was no legal outlet to do street tagging, which I enjoyed. It came with headaches from getting arrested for it. And in the 80s, like the neighborhood gang graffiti activity was high. You know, when I started doing graffiti, it wasn't something when you went to family gatherings, you're like, hey, I'm getting into graffiti. Your family would be like, okay, cool, get a good art job and do your hobby stuff on the side. And now it's come to a point where graffiti is looked at as a profession, and people actually get involved with the idea that they can make a profession out of either graffiti or street art. So definitely it's changed and evolved.
Oh my God, I'm done.
I wanted a place where everyone could paint, a legal outlet for graffiti piecing, from the best to the worst. 5 Points was the name I chose at the time because it wasn't a name that put us under a label or a bracket. I had no idea to where it would go. 5 points of New York coming to 1 point to paint. 5 elements of hip hop, all in one spot. And by keeping this name, we wound up later on branching out, and I started to incorporate MCing, DJing, beatboxing, and graffiti all into one location, and brought everything as a kid growing up in hip hop that I would go to different venues to see, all to one spot. I mean, I was a little kid in a candy store. It was a miracle. And everybody that took the 7 train, and there's millions and millions of train goers, slowly started to get hooked and enticed to get off the train. And they got to see that graffiti, the unknown art, the art that, you know, gets perceived as bad and illegal, and wasn't such a bad thing. And that the artists that did it were everyday people like you and me, and became, you know, one of the epicenters for hip-hop culture in New York. And it was free and for the people and by the people.
Graffiti gave me a foundation to build off of into a career in art. I started out drawing as a kid. It progressed to graffiti, and then from graffiti it progressed to abstract art on canvas, doing more design like expensive handbags, shoes, textile, all of that. I just started branching off. I'm gonna paint everything, man. Whatever paint can adhere to, I paint. You know, it's like I've proved to myself that I can paint my name for decades in a variety of styles, and as much as I still love doing that, I just don't limit myself to one style of art. I mean, all of the principles of art and design apply to graffiti art. You know, it's universal. It's just what you want to do with it. In 2010, during South by Southwest, we got slammed with a lot of commission work. And at the end of South by, Ray, Jabber, and I figured why not put our resources together and start a mural company, and that's how All City Branded was formed. We were doing work for CNN, Nike, Google, Facebook. It just made sense, you know. We've all paid our dues on the streets. We've been around for a long time, and you know, I think what other better way to represent the art form than people that practice it and come from it. So I felt like there was a lot of validation with that, but at the same time, as an artist trying to make the money, you got to go where the opportunity's at. And these corporations are the ones with the big budgets. You know, I figured in this line of work, you got to do what you don't want to do in order to do what you want to do. And that's what a lot of these jobs allowed.
I've worked for beer companies, vodka companies, Google, Facebook, a lot of tech-related stuff. doing art for money is not really my thing. It's not what I strive to do. I just kind of fell into it. So I get to dictate what I want to do a little bit more than other people. I have that luxury now. Years ago when I did not have that luxury, yeah, I would, work. If I had to work for a company, I would do what they wanted to do and go through the chain of commands. And sometimes you have to do that to survive. I've worked with Sloke a bunch. He was the boss, If he's the boss, it's easy to deal with. But if you have to deal with somebody that hired you to do a mural and they don't know anything about mural making or design or color concepts, it's kind of annoying. I just like working like anyone else.
There used to be the term sellout. You didn't want to sell out to this bigger company or to this commercial company. Now, if you don't sell out, you're not gonna survive in this world. That term is obsolete now. It's amazing that there is that opportunity to bridge the gap from being an illegal graffiti artist to doing commercial work for big companies. I think that I know I myself am grateful for that opportunity, and I'm sure other artists around the world probably feel the same, And none of that would have happened if it wasn't from them originally painting trains, doing whatever illegal graffiti they were doing when they first started. So it definitely brings this value.
Came across Dual, was introduced to Dual. He's a Houston staple. He's an integral part to the Houston street scene, graffiti scene. Super talented artist. I'm obviously a huge fan of his work. He's helping conveying and developing our concept, through his work. As far as graffiti and street art goes, it is essential to metropolitan culture, right? No one wants to be in same color, concrete jungle, just glass, steel, concrete everywhere. There's no life. And it's nice to go places in cities, Tokyo, Paris, right? New York, Chicago, and see this blend of street art, right? Graffiti, tags, whatever you want to call it, mixed with, commissions, kind of like what Dual does, right? On this building. I think it's essential to life and culture in the city.
Kind of came at me with what he wanted, and he told me, I'm a fan of Blade Runner, Tron, and I was like, say no more, man. I'm a huge fan. Let me take it through my filter and then spit it out, and then we both are happy with the final product.
Dual has really helped bring that element to our business, and I think that it's been an honor, especially at this point, and moving forward, it's going to continue to be an honor to work with Dual.
So to me, one of the main reasons I think that these businesses now want murals is because it's current. It's important. Like I said, the renaissance of this movement of murals popping up on buildings overnight, large scale, has become such an important thing, and it's such a trending thing in society, especially with social media. Everyone wants to go take a photo in front of a mural and post it up on their Instagram, and then they're gonna tag the location, the artist, what they're wearing, the ice cream they're eating. So it creates all this connection, and then it just keeps getting spread over and over and over.
So there's this super cool element to working with an anonymous artist, right? And people get really excited. I think just to see Dual on the street, people walking up and they're like, oh man, same thing when he paints downtown.
One of them, you don't have permission, and you're doing it without anyone knowing, where here you're getting funded and given all the resources and all the supplies to be able to pull off this feat. So it's pushed the form in that way where commercial companies know first of all, they got the funding, they got the money, so they're just putting all that into this, and they're able to get works of art on their buildings that you would probably never ever really see happening otherwise.
To be honest with you, man, I got burnt out. I really got burnt out on commercial work. All money's not good money. And I started to feel like I was basically getting pimped out by corporations. I wasn't sure the money was good, it was hard work, but there was no soul in it, you know? And I felt like I started to lose why I got into this in the first place. And it ceased to be fun. And I really just stepped back from it. Around that time, street art here was exploding, and every week there was some new hotshot artist that came out of nowhere doing cute and friendly murals around town. And honestly, man, the whole thing turned me off. You know, like I said, I come from a different generation. It's almost like this art form became a novelty in this city. And I don't want anything to do with it, man. I'm painting for me. And if the public can enjoy my art, that's the cherry on top. But I don't paint for the public either. And some say, well, you paint outside, isn't it public art? Sure, I guess. But isn't a billboard? I mean, it's the same thing. Depends how you want to look at it. It's crazy because one line can change everything. It's a tough call. You know, how do you juggle what you love to do with making a living, you know? And I'll revisit it tomorrow if I really feel, but right now I'm feeling happy with it because the bulk of the colors is really on the bottom right. And that was the whole point. That's why I have the explosions going this way. I always tend to go to the right corner, but that's one example of the abstract styles that I do, but I really like these because they're therapeutic for me, you know?
5 Points, you know, which started early 2000s, grew towards around 2010. What started to happen in that area, Long Island City, Queens, New York, right over the bridge to Manhattan. You could be in Manhattan in like 10 minutes. Everything that's proximity to Manhattan radiating outward is the first things that obviously get gentrified because Manhattan is the heartbeat of New York. That opened up for real estate developers to want to buy up all these factories and eventually tear down the buildings and build these high-rise towers that exist now. 2010 or a little later, that the idea that 5 Points might become extinct. So aside from me running 5 Points and aside from me obviously having a love of that and I'm wanting that to stay, I also, living in that neighborhood, don't want to see a tower go up 2 blocks from my house that puts a shadow on half of the neighborhood. A lawyer approached us at the time in the loading dock and knew of a law called VARA, Visual Artists' Rights Act. And she said, it's a way we could, give more time to try to save this gem. Also, if the law applied, would ensure that we could save and video and photo document all the artwork on this masterpiece properly under law so that we could preserve it, for the rest of eternity.
One of the most famous art destruction story of the 20th century is the destruction of Diego Rivera's commissioned mural at the base of Rockefeller Center. When he was retained and contracted to do this mural, he gave a fairly rough sketch. And because of the political time and his strong beliefs, he decided to include a portrait of Lenin, which did not meet the expectation of the Rockefellers, and ultimately the mural got destroyed. Fast forward to 1990, a similar situation occurred in San Francisco with a tribute mural, and it kind of burst the law and the need for the law VARA, Visual Artist Right Act. To kind of make it simple, in United States, the base of rights are property rights, and the concept of moral rights does not really exist. So VARA was very necessary and was pushed by Senator Kennedy and ultimately passed and created as a new law.
Are we denying First Amendment rights for individuals who want to go over and destroy someone else's art?
Visual Artist Right Act. Protect artists' intellectual property. And what does that mean? It means that an artist is entitled to the right and the protection of their artwork as long as it's legal, as long as it's signed, as long as the author obviously is alive, and as long as it retains stature. That obscure law that was never used at a trial with a jury, that never went to court per se, was for the first time used in a 5 Points case.
The law was presented. It was a conversation between us, the landlord, and the judge. So he tried to have us work together to hey, let's find a medium ground. And the judge, as much as I said to us, as much as I appreciate the art, it is this gentleman's property, and I can't find enough evidence to tell him that you can't develop your property and build your towers. That being said, the law is still a law, and you have to give 90 days of time. We could have saved enough of that building to fill a full museum at another location, honoring 5 Points.
So 21 artists claim their VARA rights and first tried to use VARA to protect their art. The owner of the property has to give the 90 days, and at their own expenses, artists have the time to, again, document, remove.
The judge ruled in his favor and expressed to him the law still is the law, that you have to give the 90 days notice, proceeded to go back into chambers to craft the verdict. And you gotta understand, a judge writing a verdict is no different than an artist with a can creating a mural. That's the time where he goes back into his chambers and he spends a lot of quality time to really put these words on paper that will echo through eternity in legal cases to follow. I got a phone call at 7:30, which woke me up. I arrived at 5 Points to see the devastation, and I was disgusted. It was gone.
In the case of 5 Points, from injunction, where the attempt was to preserve the artwork and get the necessary time, by the end of the injunction, the landlord, the owner of the building, went ahead and painted everything white. So he destroyed hundreds of art and hundreds of pieces.
Before the judge was able to write his verdict and release the full verdict, the landlord proceeded to hire his workers to come and overnight whitewashed the entire industrial complex, all the murals around the entire building. The buff paint was watered down so he could stretch the paint. and you could see the murals coming through the paint. In the morning, by the time I had gotten a phone call and arrived, 5 Points was pretty much annihilated. They had brought in, I'd say probably about 40 workers to do this overnight without permits, under the cover of darkness, no different than a vandal, what they accused us of being. And pretty much pissed on the judge's verdict as well as all the art that had been given him for free over the years that 5 Points stood. And I felt horrible. I felt like, you know, I was just really let down, man. I didn't believe he wouldn't give us the 90 days. It didn't make sense to me. And that changed everything. It became a full-blown criminal act now. And now because of that, we had to go to court.
So we're here at Castle Hill. This is the what we used to call the foundation. It was basically a failed property development in the early 80s, and it sat abandoned for decades. There's an actual castle here that used to be the Texas Military Academy back in the 1800s. And so back in the 90s, you know, this place was fenced off, and my crew and I used to sneak in here and paint on the walls. You know, back then, if you got caught, you were definitely going to jail. What made me transition was getting arrested for the 3rd time for graffiti and going to jail for it. Because when I was in jail for graffiti, all I did was draw envelopes for commissary, okay? And the envelopes said, they're graffiti. So I was either gonna do graffiti on the street or I was gonna be drawing graffiti in jail. You see what I'm saying? So I had to find a way to continue painting without the consequences. When I got out of jail for the 3rd time for graffiti, I started to make that transition. I call it going above ground. And I started to go more legit. I remember my first murals, I was knocking on business doors going, hey man, can I paint your wall? Here's my portfolio. I remember riding my bike with my backpack, with my portfolio, because back then we had 4x6 photos, and saying, hey man, can I paint a mural? And sometimes I did it for free. Sometimes I did it for supplies. And I didn't set out to be like, I'm gonna be a professional artist. I just kept painting. I mean, that's the reality. I kept painting. I never gave up. I had some dark times in my life, but graffiti was always there. And whenever I would get back up after being knocked down, I would immediately grab the can, because graffiti was my release. I mean, graffiti was what kept me sane, you know, whether it was illegal or not. It's just the act of creating, you know. Yeah, I was one of the first artists to paint here in 2009, 2010. Andy Skull from Hope approached me in 2010 about painting here. You know, I was a little reluctant just because of the history of the place. For a while, you know, the first year and a half, it was definitely a really nice place to piece. It just turned into like an art hub for Austin for a while, but word got out and it became a tourist attraction. It got really popular, you know, and you had people from all over coming and painting, and it was almost like the prettier the art, the quicker it got written on. Tourists came and it really got kind of blown out of proportions, you know. I mean, once TripAdvisor put it on its top 10 list, you know, it was out of control. Whatever you painted really didn't last long, you know, scribbled on by tourists. It was almost like an amusement park. But everybody had a spray can. Yeah, kind of a shit show, to be honest with you. It definitely changed the art scene here in good and bad ways, depending how you want to look at it. But, you know, it was a cool place to paint while it lasted. You know, I think for the neighbors around here, they were glad to see it go, you know. I mean, they had up to 1,000 people a day here. It was pretty wild. And they shut down about 2 years ago. The property got sold and it's about to be developed, but snuck through the gate tonight and rocked a little silver piece. If you get caught, I heard the fine's pretty high, but it's a spot I used to always paint. Haven't really set foot on here since it's been closed. It's a lot of paint on these walls.
So there's definitely repercussions. After I spent that month in jail, my life changed drastically, and you know, it ended up working out for me, and I got lucky, but at the time, you couldn't tell me that. At the time, I thought my world was ending. I've been a pretty prolific graffiti writer, you know, my whole career, and in the smaller cities, they tend to look a little closer into graffiti cases. At one point, they put my face up on a wanted poster. So I was walking around this neighborhood taking down these wanted posters. Somebody turned me in for the reward at a little radio show, and they arrested me at the radio station for suspicion of graffiti. They had no charge on me. They had no video footage of me doing any graffiti, but they arrested me and took me downtown. They had a file on me, a thick file, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna talk about this file. And I was like, no, I don't have to talk about that file. You can just house me or let me go. Instead of housing me, they put you in a jumpsuit, they give you a toothbrush, you're gonna be there for a minute, or they book you and then they let you go. They booked me and let me go, but if they book you, they gotta give you a charge. These motherfuckers made up a charge. So they made up a date and made up a charge. So I'd have to come back to court and just be in the system, you know? So I got the fuck out of that state. Graffiti writers, that's why we have to keep a low profile. That's why we gotta be reclusive. That's why I think for me personally, I liked it back in the 90s when it was very secretive in a small little circle. Like everybody looked at each other and nodded like Fight Club, versus now where it's like, hey, what you write? Oh, that's great. Let's paint this thing red. You know, everything's like social media, tech friendly, and you know, if you don't respond or if you don't act accordingly, then you're a dick. Well, back in the day, everybody was a dick. You know what I mean? If you went into a yard, right now, back in the 90s, and someone came up and said, what do you write? You say, fuck you. You know what I mean? Punch them, take their paint. You know what I mean? That's just, it was a different kind of vibe.
Federal appeals court upheld a $6.7 million settlement after their work at the famed Five Points art mecca in Long Island City was destroyed in 2013 by a developer, all to make room for luxury condos.
Now he broke the law fully, and the judge was like, okay, you broke the law. And he was found guilty of violating VARA. And the judge at the time awarded the maximum penalty. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a horrible ride. I love the positive aspects of 5 Points. I met artists from all over the world that I still share friendships with. And I don't regret it, and I would do it all over again just based on the once-in-a-lifetime adventure it was. And that's where we stand. 5 Points as a building is gone. 5 Points, the non-for-profit, which I created, still exists. So 5 Points was a community. 5 Points was artists from all over the world, all different walks of life, coming to one place, experiencing each other's techniques, experiencing each other's cultures. When the whitewash occurred, it was a slap in the face. It was hard for people to understand. The law that was presented, VARA, giving 90 days for people to do a last visit, for forget about the preservation side. For a fan of the 12 plus years that art existed on that building, to be able to come and say goodbye, get that last photo in front of a mural. I mean, a lot of people felt robbed. The things that could have been saved would have ensured that, your children's children could have went to a museum and experienced 5 Points. And if the means are there to preserve it, and it's of no consequence to the owner to allow the artwork to be preserved, and considering that the artwork meant so much to New Yorkers, it was almost disgusting and a slap in the face that respect wasn't given. And I think a big part of this case is that, because you may not view it the way the community had viewed it in this case, and because you may not view it as art that is worth you having to abide by a rule or give it respect in terms of coming up with a compromise, doesn't mean that you cannot be punished for violating those rights. And it wasn't his decision to act as my father and punish me, and he broke the law in doing so, and that's what led to an excruciating 7-8 year trial and a lot of pain. It's a huge victory for the artists. I mean, the creation of a piece is a relationship. We have the thought process in our head of what we want to put out. The owner of the property has the wall space that we need. The fans that come to this property are potentially customers. We worked with Citizen M Brand Hotel, who had followed the case and are huge supporters of art, and felt that what was done to us was unjust, and had a meeting with us and offered us their what would become Citizen M Bowery location for a collaboration. That collaboration grew not only from an outside wall, which I created for that hotel, and utilized the stained glass style that I've birthed after the destruction of 5 Points and coming out of depression. We also brought back some of the valuable players of 5 Points to tell the story of the Bowery, which is where the hotel is, over the years, and to give people a little artistic taste of history as well as a piece of 5 Points. And it was a beautiful collaboration. We created MOSA, Museum of Street Art, which is a 21-floor walk-down museum. It took a lot of planning because we insisted, in order to do it, we wanted to do it free for the public to enjoy, no different than 5 Points was. For the people, by the people.
Look just a little bit, you can hit it one more time. That's it. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. I think times are slowly changing where people realize these are valid art forms, and it is nice, and it does take work, and it does take skill. What I'd like for you to do is fill in all this, and don't worry about it. Just try to stay in the line, just that section right here. Because if you think about it, how do things survive in life with the younger generation? They're gonna be the ones carrying it. But it's up to the veterans or the elders to pass that torch on. So I love seeing what's going on today. I try not to look at the negative. I mean, there was a time where I watched this whole city changed practically overnight when it came to these art forms. And I watched money get involved, and I watched it destroy friendships. And it went from community to business. And it was hard to see. And I saw it in a lot of other cities too. But at the end of the day, people gotta eat.
Hey, this is what happens when you do graffiti for a long time. This is from Mike's Torches, on your torches.
Yeah.
Can you give us a quote to properly graffiti our first torches? It keeps getting tagged. Then we clean it, paint it, and it gets tagged again.
Exactly. No, that's the way to keep it clean. Just put up one of your pieces up on it. That's so funny.
I spent years on the streets putting this moniker and this name out there for people to start to see and to like recognize. I then wanted to push my craft and kind of take it to another level, so I started to create paintings, and I wanted to push it to this like more like finer realm of art. And even if it doesn't ever really bring huge success and huge monetary value, I still just want to be able to wake up every day and survive and make art and basically leave a mark of myself out there, you know, whether it's with murals, graffiti, or these paintings. These pieces will eventually outlast me, and someone will be able to see these years and years down the line.
A kid 50 years from now, 100 years from now, go to a museum and actually see your paint stroke and your technique. I just embrace every aspect, and I push it till my heart and my brain tell me it's time for change, and then I go with the flow. I pretty much go with the direction of the wind and wherever it takes me.
I would want to tell like future generations and even current generations of like writers and artists, like paint what you love, like whether it be just doing letters, doing like a moniker, doing, you know, character, or doing murals. Like if you do what you love, you're actually gonna push yourself harder and make, like, I want to fine tune it and keep getting better and better at it. Do it because it's like why you want to wake up in the morning and get out of bed. Like same reason some folks spend all day at the gym or spend all day at the beach. Like if I was a surfer, I'd surf every day until I got sick of it and do something else. Like I approach painting the same way, and it keeps me inspired, and it's still fun for me. And when it stops being fun, I'll find something different to do.
If I can do it, you can do it. I'm not unique. But there's so much more than that post and those comments and those likes. You can't fake skill and you can't fake experience. There's no shortcuts to that. I'm still learning, and I will hope to continue learning till the day I die. There's no plateaus, man. I know youngsters that I look at them and I go, wow, man, like, stick with it because you're good. You know, a lot of what took me 5 to 7 years to learn can now be learned in 2. And that's the way it should be, right? Things should advance, you know? The techniques, I mean, I learned on Krylon and Rust-Oleum, man, high pressure stock caps. You learn to not drip, you had to paint quick. Nowadays, the industry's changed. You got low pressure, high pressure, you got 20, 30, 40 caps to choose from. That's all good stuff, but you still have to put in the work. You still have to practice, you know? You can't substitute that. There's no shortcut for the 10,000 plus hours you need to put in.
There's nothing better than creating something and seeing somebody see it and seeing them smile. There's nothing better than that. The effect on another person is very internally rewarding. But I don't know what I'm gonna leave behind. I think about that very often. And I guess the answer to that is what I would prefer to leave behind, something that somebody could laugh at, or somebody be like, oh, I remember that fool Jabber, he crazy. Motherfucker. Oh, he died? Shit. But I'm trying to influence people just to do, you know? Just get up off the couch and go do it. That's what I'm trying to influence people to do. And that's why I write Just Do It all the time.
I've influenced many. I've had many influence me. And I think it's important to kind of leave that little piece of your DNA out there in the universe so that the artist-to-be can experience not only your struggles, but your good times, grow the story and add their blueprint to it. And I think that's priceless. So I think we are the storytellers. We are the storytellers of the future.